Hey y'all, it's Kristen. Welcome to the Tribe Podcast. Tribe is a resource podcast for entrepreneurs looking to build their entrepreneurial tribe. Over my years of working with business owners, I've realized that it's important to know who you need as a part of your network before you need them. Listen in as I ask my trusted resources the question you've always wanted answers to, but didn't want to pay to get. If you're new to your business or you're established and you're just busy, feel free to borrow my tribe as you build your empire. So this is a really interesting episode. Let's call it a bonus episode. Melissa Marks is actually my meditation performance coach. And so we did her episode for the podcast and we weren't feeling super excited about it. So she told me I could record our next session. I don't know, and I will find out before I post this, but I don't know if she knew that I actually recorded our next session. I didn't want to tell her I was recording it because I didn't want her to get nervous. So this is literally just a session I had, very minimally edited, probably not edited much at all, with Melissa Marks. So if you meditate on any kind of a regular basis or have been through a course or something, this will be a really good refresher for you as she goes through it with me. And just re-listening to it a couple months later, I'm really feeling motivated to go back and make friends with the mundane. Hope you love it.
Gotcha. Well, tell me how you've been. It's been a little while since we've spoken. We've had Thanksgiving, there's family stuff, there's just everything that goes along with this time period. So do you want to start by telling me how you're doing? What's been happening with you?
Yeah, so I have been meditating every day except for the last 3.
Wonderful. That's cool. Yay.
Lagging pretty hard there. I feel like I had been sleeping pretty well until recently too, like the last 2-3 nights actually. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. Have been
no.
I'm mostly really curious about that. I feel like I've done my best with family. I had Thanksgiving with my mom and my sister and some family friends, and that went okay. But I spent most of the weekend with friends. I had something every night this past weekend, long weekend. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was fine. I'm really looking forward to, this is my favorite time of year because people just will come over your house and just sit and eat cake or, it's just, I don't know. It's really magical and you get to hang out with people.
Mm-hmm.
I hung out with my ex yesterday or the day before, which was super fun.
Okay.
Still my ex, sadly.
What was that last thing you said?
But he's still my ex, sadly, so I need to rein all that back in.
Okay.
Yeah, he bought a new car, so he brought it over to show me because he knows I love cars. I love sports cars. So
I did not know this about you. You're a sports car person.
I am, yeah.
Interesting.
So he bought a Jaguar.
Ooh, okay.
Type.
Nice.
So he pulled up, and I was put my hand out for the keys, and he just was okay, and gave them to me.
Love it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so we're still really good friends. So yeah, just lots of, I feel like I'm navigating life okay right now.
Excellent. So you mentioned that you've been meditating every day except for the last few days.
Yeah.
Tell me what have you noticed in terms of the meditation into, let's say, work life, personal life? What's it been like having that as an essential piece of your daily diet?
So I get to this point where I feel like it's not working anymore, but then I just keep doing it. And so when I do, I find that it's been a little bit lighter lately. One thing that I think is really interesting is I found one that I liked and I just kept doing it over and over again. But then I was just kind of looking through the options and found one that was a meditation for weight loss. And I haven't been weighing myself, but I have been craving salads lately.
Interesting. Okay.
I feel like this woman has hypnotized me to salads. Because I don't know if I just finished mentioning I thought I said it to you, but I definitely said it to Tina. I was the Dream Team board meetings are the only time a month that I have a salad, because the salads are really good at the place we go. So I didn't have a salad this past meeting, and I really regretted it. And I've had like 5 or 6 salads.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like I throughout the day I hear the things in the meditation like in my mind, kind of like they come back up. So sometimes I feel like I'm really sleepy and maybe I fell asleep during it, but I still like hear the things throughout the day. So I feel like it's working.
I'm interested by this phrase you're using in terms of working. And the first thing you said was, I'm feeling like it's not working anymore, but then I'm still doing it. And then I feel lighter when I'm done. So let's kind of take a step back here and understand, what does it mean for it to quote work versus not work? What does that mean to you?
So I feel like I just was getting disengaged after a little while. That's why I feel like it was not working. Like it was not keeping my attention, or it was harder for me to focus or sit still after a while. And then like, are the things that I'm hearing, because I wasn't doing guided meditation before. Like all the meditation I've done up till this point on my own has been just like silent, sitting with like self-guided meditation. So more like, are the things that are hearing like coming up in my day? Like, do I feel like I'm doing this meditation for happiness, like to wake up happier? Does that happen? Most of the time, yeah. So that's more like, am I getting the result of the meditation, of like the guided meditation?
Okay, I gotcha. So up until when did you start doing guided? Because before you said you were doing mostly unguided, which is wonderful.
Like since we've started, I started doing guided. But before that,
Got it. Okay, so let's just take a little bit of a look back on why are we meditating? What is the point? And are we doing it to get something out of it? Sometimes we can have an intention. That's perfectly fine. But what you were doing before with silent meditation and merely coming back into yourself, that's enough. And there's not, when we look to meditation to give us something like, oh, I feel disengaged, or it's hard for me to focus, that's something to look at. That's part of the journey of meditation. So you're not always going to come out of it feeling happier. You're not always going to come out of it feeling more focused. You're not sometimes. And when those times happen, that's obviously wonderful. But I think you're at a place with your practice where watching the mind, being the watcher, is really where you're being called to be. So noticing when the mind gets disengaged, right? When we look at that continuum of craving and aversion, am I bored? Why am I bored? That's interesting, right? Like that's a moment to be engaged again. When we start feeling disengaged, it's a moment to come into engagement. So I am almost thinking, splicing back in your silent meditation again. And there's nothing wrong with guided. I think it's always cool to know that you've got a whole bunch of options out there in the world, that if you wanted to do a manifestation meditation, you could do that. If you were really, having a goal in mind that day, or you mentioned the weight loss. If that was more of an issue for you that day, great, put that on. But I would suggest for you coming back into just that silent time that you used to be doing and seeing what that's like for you now, because it's just about understanding and getting back in touch with you and that feeling of balance. If you're connected to your higher self, if you're balanced, no matter what you do, you're bringing that kind of energy into your day, into your world. And so you've got that time to create that. You've got that time to be with yourself. And if you've got something that's coming up that's gnawing at you, that's not letting you focus, not letting you get engaged, you are the best person to course correct that. And I think at this point, you have enough experience under your belt that you can sit through that. So there is a little bit of a difficulty in that moment, that first initial moment of, ooh, I'm bored, or ooh, I don't like it, or whatever it is. But that's a really important moment not to miss. That would be what we would call a missed opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So stay with that, because there's usually something really good on the other side of that. And that's the benefit of an unguided. You really know what's up with you, and you can go deeper at that point. Guided, you're kind of just, all right, you're on for, it's someone else's journey, really. It's someone else's journey that they are offering to you. And that's a beautiful thing, and that's a wonderful thing. And for most beginners, I mean, that's all you're going to do for quite a while.
Yeah, I'd never done it before, but I'm like, I just sit here.
Yeah, right? It's sort of like some version of restorative yoga where someone's just like putting props under you and like moving you, and you're like, oh, I love it. It's beautiful. I don't have to do a lot, and I just feel good. But I think so, Kristen, don't you think? I mean, what's your sense as you hear me explain some of this to you?
My sense is, like all things, this will be more difficult, but I probably need to do it. Like, that's just...
Mm-hmm. Okay, do you have questions about the actual sitting process? Because you're just going to... So question, do you have a question about that? Do you wonder what to do? There's many people have questions of, am I doing it right? Or what do I do when I come up to that place where I feel frustrated, or I feel bored, or I don't know what to do? Do you know what to do at that moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've gotten up to, so during teacher training, we had to ramp up to like 30 minutes of silent sitting. So I've meditated more silently than I have with guided. So I'm sure it'll come back to me. It's either like a lack of focus on my breath, or focusing on like a particular part of my body, or just like looking at, like there's different, so it's self-guided. It's not necessarily silent, but it's like, I might work on like just bringing energy to different points in my body, or like looking at myself from different angles, or focusing on my breath, or so.
Okay, cool.
A particular focus point at the moment, but I feel like I can do it.
Okay, awesome. Talk to me about the intention setting and career stuff. Are you putting that into play in terms of the meditation practice?
No, I've been like decidedly undecided and kind of blank about that. There was a minimal number of decisions I wanted to make about that. Would you want to get more clarity on the ideal vision for you? Not really. Like usually I really do, but I don't know. I just feel like I was just chasing it too hard. I feel like what I really want to focus on, what's come to me over the last couple weeks that I want to focus on next year, is just being consistent. Like consistent activity, consistent input. I don't really feel like I feel like I just spend a lot of time like chasing a goal a lot.
Okay.
A lot of time. So I would rather just focus on like the behaviors and being like extremely boring next year and just like doing I think that's really what it would take to get me to the next level, is just being like doing the same thing every day. And that's extremely challenging for me. So I think I'd really rather over the next year focus on like being healthier and dare I say dating someone that's not my ex.
Good.
That seems like a really hard thing to even fathom. I feel like the work stuff will work itself out. I feel like I need to give it a break for a second and just focus on like the behaviors.
Okay, wonderful. Well, there's still an energetic component to behaviors, right? And I think that there's a little bit of a belief thing there going on about that it's boring maybe, or just, I mean, it's sort of like, okay, consistency, like the same thing. It might have some connotations there that are not amazing. So one thing to think about would be what could be the energetic state that would lead you to have consistent behaviors, but also to find that incredibly joyful, to find that completely nourishing, and because that is in alignment with what you want, right? So elevating that in some capacity, right? What would that look like if that was not boring and not super hard? It would just be really, really lovely to have those consistent behaviors.
I mean, I think it would be less stressful. Like that's the main thing. Like it would be a lot less stressful. So I wouldn't have like these roller coasters in income. Roller coaster has been less high and low this year, but still high and low. So I think that's the main thing, is just being able to show up and put in a certain amount of effort every day, get a certain amount of output. Whereas right now it's like tons of effort at certain times and then like not a lot of effort because I put in maybe exhausted a certain amount of time. So this time of year is like a ton of effort. But looking at my calendar, it doesn't seem undoable. Like if I could run at this pace I say this every December, if I could run at this pace all year, that would be awesome. So like, how do I keep this level of activity and seeing people and energy up?
Okay, question. Does it feel like it is a high level of energy though? So that, I mean, what would be considered maybe not your highest, obviously not your lowest, but somewhere a nice sweet spot that your energy would not crash and burn?
The only thing that's too high about like what's going to happen this next week is that the weekends don't give me, like, I don't have a break anywhere. So that's absolutely why I started the whole like Mondays are all internal thing, because my weekends would usually break me. Like after the week, I'd run around all weekend and do a bunch of stuff, which is fun stuff I like doing, but I'd still be really tired. And so I don't always have the energy to see people or do anything. So I like the pace. I like running fast and having like doing a lot, but it still makes me tired. I was just thinking this next week looks like if I didn't schedule anything else, it would be really good. But I'm sure I'm going to schedule some other stuff. I'm going to find a way to fit more in towards the end of the week.
So let's talk about that. What is that about? Even though you're saying it looks good, feels right, but that you'll probably squeeze more in. What is that piece, that last piece about for you?
I have limited time to work in this month, and then I also have limited time to work in the year. And so since like I'm really close to a bunch of end of the year goals, like so I'm kind of on the cusp for all three of my end of the year goals. And so I just want to finish those. Like I want to do my best to get those done.
Okay.
So it's just like I gotta fit as much in as possible to make sure I give myself the best chance of getting those.
Okay. But then moving into the next year, you don't want to be chasing goals as much, you said earlier.
Yeah. I typically don't have a problem with like scheduling myself out further and not packing my schedule in too dense when it comes to clients. I haven't quite, like my weekends, I used to be a lot better about my weekends, but then I started focusing on like scheduling for the week. And then like this time of year, weekends are just crazy too, because everyone's having a party, like everyone's doing something. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to make those decisions, like I want to do everything, but I can only do so much.
Yes, exactly.
Like so-and-so only invites me to their birthday party, never, so I should probably go, you know? I had a ton of fun and I was glad I went, but I was beat yesterday.
Yeah, it's such a unique time of year, and almost all of our typical rules of engagement, they change during this time. So I hear you there. We're making adjustments just to accommodate and get through and enjoy the beautiful time of year that we have. So what do you think, for our session today, or just even looking ahead into next year, what do you think would be the most helpful use of your time?
Yeah. So for today, I really just like this week, I need to operate at like my highest level and be the most focused.
Okay.
I ever am this week. If this is the only week all year, this is the one.
Okay.
And like, I just need to be really good at asking people to do things, like to get like motivating people to get stuff done quickly.
Okay.
People don't really realize how long things take to get done, and if they want them done by the end of the year, like they have to be done this week. We have to start them this week. So I want to be in a spirit of like helping people get things that they want still. I feel like there's a couple clients left out there for me to work with this year. I don't know who they are. I'm sensing that there's like 2 more.
I love it. Okay.
So they need to show up. I was going to say I need to find them, but I can't find them. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I think there's 2 more clients that I don't know about.
Oh, this is great. Okay.
And then for next year, it's not that I don't want to have goals at all. I just want to be more focused on like doing the work day to day and like letting the goals happen. So next year is about like finding balance in the type of work I'm doing or the different lines of business I have. I haven't really thought much beyond that about next year because I have so much stuff left. Like I have the journal, my goal planning journal that I have a draft of on my desk that I need to edit, and I'd love to have that printed by the end of the year. I had a book goal. I'm trying to figure out if I'm still going to St. Croix after Christmas. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my mom. Like I have a lot of stuff for the end of the year, and so this week I'm just going to focus on business stuff.
Okay. Okay, great.
But like staying on track and making good use of time, like that's my big thing.
Okay, wonderful. I like that. And I think that going back to what we talked about earlier in terms of your daily practice, your daily meditation practice, really solidifying it in terms of that consistent work ethic every day, putting in what feels like the right amount, that can be a part of your morning practice because you're practicing in the morning, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And I really like also something else you said about the chasing of the goal, because that can have that craving component. And when it's always about craving, you're always kicking it a little bit further out, like something that you can't have. It's like, I want it so bad. It's always a little bit further out. But when you come into a place of presence and just, it's here right now, and I'm putting in all of the work and it's both input and output. I'm just there executing it. It has a really different quality. So I like some of these subtle changes that you're making. I think that they're pretty profound, and I think you're going to have a lot of great success from those. So integrating that, I don't know if you're taking notes at all, but for your morning practice, going back to your own individual practice, guided from time to time, but mostly setting these intentions each time. And just to be able to sit with what is, because in some ways what you're talking about is making friends with the mundane, right? And our practice can sometimes feel like the mundane, like, it's just what it is, right? I'm just sitting and there's nothing and it's boring or whatever. But in some ways it mirrors what you're looking to do for next year. You're looking to embrace every single day and finding that beautiful place, that edge, that place to soar, but within that every single day mundane world. So the practice in some ways mirrors that. So keeping that in mind, that when you embrace your practice from that place, I think you'll have a better time executing the work the way you want to each day too. But you're right, it's not going to have those fancy, maybe those bells and whistles of like, ooh, it's this kind of, meditation that's, I come out of it feeling high or something. It might just be, right, this was my practice and it was solid and it was good. And now I'm about to go have that kind of day that's solid and good. And over time, you'll see the benefits and reap the rewards of that kind of consistent practice, right? So less highs and lows, more in the middle. Practice the same way, life will be the same way.
Right.
Like the internal and external really being exact replicas of each other.
Yeah, I feel like I've been that food one was so interesting because that's an area where I've really struggled. And recently I just haven't even up until the last week, I hadn't even really wanted food, but I was hungry. So I would just eat junk. So I would be I have to eat. because I haven't eaten, but I don't know what I want. And so like this switch to like craving changes, like I have a sweet potato pie, a peach cobbler, an apple pie, and a pound cake in my house right now. And I have not touched them. And ice cream. That is completely weird for me. I normally had dessert twice a day for since they've been in my house since Saturday. Friday. So it's like a really weird, and I haven't even considered eating them today either. It's just like a weird thing. So I don't know. I think there's something to be said about like having the right words to put into my brain.
Okay.
So consistency and discipline are like big words. But I just feel like I need like a talk track that's like data serve clients kind of a thing.
I love it. Okay, well, for sure for today, we can integrate some of these key words. I like also, yes, this idea of the food meditation as a guided one for you to keep that going. And let's kind of step back and think again about what it is that you're looking to do and why your body is your vessel and your vehicle. And if you're looking to execute at this consistent level,
right,
the body has to have that same quality of being consistent and to have it feel nourished, but it's not going to have a sugar high and then a sugar low, right? Think about what you're putting in the body and having those same results in terms of highs and lows, peaks and valleys, big starts, like a lot of sugar, go, go, go. And then it's like, afterwards, right? And so I feel like in a lot of ways, what you're talking about is real integration of mind, body, and spirit. How you're treating your body is really what you're looking to look forward to for the next year. It's consistency. So how you're treating it, what you're putting into it, it's fuel. It's not to say you can't enjoy cake from time to time, but I feel that there's a lot of symmetry here in what you're talking about. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do.
It's really kind of neat. I'm really, really proud of you. Really happy for you. The sleeping thing you said, let's touch on that, and then we can move towards doing a guided for you. You were saying your sleeping was going a lot better, and then the last few days you didn't meditate. It wasn't as good. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was like, how is this a coincidence? I don't know.
Because it's not.
Like, this has to just be a coincidence. I thought about it this morning. Yeah, it's so weird because there's not a reason. So I feel maybe I just don't know what the reason is. But yeah, that's been happening. The last few nights I haven't slept well. And I've been like super tired and going to bed at like 2. Like night before last I went to bed at 2. And I was exhausted. And so I was tired most of the day yesterday. And then when it came time to go to bed, I was sure I was going to like knock right out. Did not.
So I'll throw out a few thoughts here. So yes, the meditation and sleep studies are phenomenal, and it absolutely improves sleep. There's no doubt about that. So I don't see it as a coincidence at all. The next thing though makes me wonder, I'm curious, what is your typical bedtime? And I know we've had holidays and all of that, and that can get thrown off, but generally, what time do you go to bed?
Usually like 11:30.
Okay.
Yeah. The last few days have just been like, people didn't leave my house till 2 on and then Friday I was at a birthday party in Arlington. I didn't get home till like 1:30. And then last night I was home and I got in bed about 11:30. I was tired at 9, but I didn't want to get in bed. Sometimes if I get in bed too early, I wake up in the middle of the night and then I'm just awake. But I ended up not sleeping anyway, so I probably could have gotten in bed at 9.
Okay, so during the regular work week, do you find that there's any issues getting a consistent amount of sleep, or is that a pretty standard plug and play thing for you?
I mean, it had been an issue like every night, regardless of weekday, weekend. Usually I sleep better on the weekend, I think. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, no, I mean, there's no judgment there, but going along this idea of what you're looking for, right? I'm taking your words of what you want for starting in January. consistent behaviors, all of that, it does come down to a consistent bedtime, and it all of your habits, right? It's not just your work habits, it's your whole life habit. And in some ways, it's not super sexy, right? To be like, okay, well, here's where I go to bed, and this is when there's a lot of formality to it, a lot of structure to it, but that structure is there to support your very highest self. So sleep is huge. Going to bed at the same time, relatively speaking, is critical to having the kind of success that you're looking for. So kind of keeping that in mind too. What you're eating, time you're going to sleep, the amount of sleep. They say that you really, really need to have the 8 hours. Do you get the full 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not asleep. Like last night I was in bed at 11:30 and I was up at 8, but I wasn't sleeping. But typically, I'll sleep. I really don't feel like I need a whole 8, but I typically can get it.
I used to say the same thing that, I don't need the 8. And I was speaking with a sleep expert, and there's just so much research now out there about, they're even saying 8 to 9, and they're talking about these full sleep cycles where a sleep cycle is about an hour and a half. By the time you start into one cycle and then you dip into deep sleep and then you come out and all of that. So just kind of keeping that in mind in terms of this.
Yeah, sleep 9 hours.
Okay. I would encourage maybe then going into bed slightly earlier, just to play with that. Again, you're talking about structure. You're talking about behaviors. You're talking about a regimented life. And that's going to include these other pieces. Okay?
Yeah, I just have to go to bed earlier because I can't sleep 10 hours and go to bed at midnight.
No. Yeah, I think going in a little bit earlier. And then the love part, your dating life, do you want to create kind of a clearing space for that so that there's just, not say an aversion or a craving, but just sort of an open space there? You were saying that part was a little bit hard, seeing your ex and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not hard to see him. It's just, when we broke up, which was years ago, he wasn't ready to be married, and he still isn't. He's still not. So what are you going to do with your life in the next couple of years? I don't know. He has no aspirations in that area. So I think this is the most terrifying part of my life right now. I don't even put any thought into it. It just seems very hard and overwhelming. And I don't exactly know why. But yeah, I don't date. I would like to, but I just feel like I don't ever meet anybody that I'm really that excited about. So
okay.
I need something. I don't know. I don't have no idea what there is.
Okay. Would you be open to just allowing some movement in that area, and we'll just see and just kind of open it up a bit? Because even the use of the word terrifying is a pretty big word, and you're right, because that
I'm tearing up. I have no idea what's going on there.
Okay. So much of it, your life is so on point. The stuff we're talking about for you, we are fine tuning this beautiful bow. You're doing really well in many, many areas, right? So what we're looking here overall is just consistency here, tightening this up there, this, just little tweaks that are going to have a big impact. But then we come into this love life area, and all of a sudden it is off the charts the other way.
Yeah.
It's very energetically different. So let's try to bring it into the fold. Let's invite it in, right? Let's make friends with it, because it's a little bit out there on the outskirts, sort of by itself, maybe scared somewhere under a bridge. It's come here, you can be a part of this. Huh?
People living in a box alone.
Yeah. It has a different image to me.
One of those tired cats that's been beat down. That's fine.
Oh, yes. So let's definitely rescue it and bring it into the fold. That part of you that's all of these wonderful things, that's consistent, that's, integrating healthy habits. We just have to bring it back in. So a lot of love there, a whole bunch of love, and we'll just be open to seeing what happens with that when we include that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Well, any questions or comments or anything that we haven't talked about that would be important before we... I'm assuming you'd like to do a meditation. Would you like to do a meditation today?
Yeah. I'm waiting for this moment.
Heck yeah. Okay, well, good. So anything else you'd like to say before we start?
No, I don't have anything else.
Well, I appreciate you updating me. It's been a little while, so this was good. I got a lot of info from you, and that's always helpful for me. Okay, good deal. All right, Kristen. So I invite you to take a comfortable posture, seated. I invite you to allow the eyes to soften and to close whenever it feels right. Please place one hand on your heart center and the other hand on your belly. And let's take several deep breaths in and out. Take a few here on your own, nice big breaths. Paying special attention to the way the palms feel, both in the heart center and also on the belly. Just accepting the sensations, accepting the breath. And after you take your last big exhale, returning back to your normal breathing, taking a moment to discover what normal breathing feels like in this moment. Still supporting both the belly and the heart center with your palms. Please take a moment silently to yourself to set your intention for your practice today. You can allow the hands to come back into the lap if you would like. You can place them palms facing down by your knees, or palms facing up. Palms up for more receiving, palms down for more grounding, or a combination of both. Let's take a moment to root and ground in the body. So noticing the lower portion of the body, the legs, the connection of the legs, the feet onto the surface that you're sitting on. Also the sitting bones. Connecting to the tip of the tailbone. And if you can imagine a cord, sending that down deep into the earth, tethering it. That cord is taut. You're anchored here, rooted in the body. Just letting sounds come and go. So at the base of the tailbone there, just imagining a paperweight, a rock. That is consistency. That is groundedness. Feeling the space all around that rock, that paperweight. Stable but also fluid. Breathing around that centered place. So opening into the belly. So that structure allows a freedom. That rootedness allows you space. Moving up through the spine, allowing that gentle S curve to lift up. Breathing up along the spine and into the body, the interior of the body. And noticing the sensations as you do. Right there in the center of the body, belly button. This is your ability to be consistent, to take action each day. That output. Really feeling that strong body that is supporting that output. Really connecting to the input of the food, the nourishment, what goes into the body and then comes out of the body in terms of your work, the energy you put out. It's the circle of life. Imagining a big circle looping through you. Everything is connected. Consistent output. Consistent input. Take a moment to visualize what this looks like, what this feels like. Moving up into the heart center. Noting the sensations in the heart. Accepting the heart exactly how it feels right now. If you would like, you can place either one hand or both hands on the heart center if it feels right. Allowing the other parts of the body, the hands, the palms, to support the heart. Just breathing here, feeling whatever is there. Receiving the support of your palms or your palm. Allowing whatever imagery comes to mind right now for you. And really connecting to the support that the other areas of your body can lend to your heart. Steady input, steady output. Includes the heart. Just placing a hand on the heart each day and breathing into the heart center with the palm brings the heart into the routine of receiving can either continue to keep the palm there, place it back into the lap, acknowledging how the heart center feels now. Just letting the shoulders move slightly back and down. Moving up along into the throat, the jaw. Allowing the chin to be parallel to the ground. Noticing the words you speak, not just to others, but to yourself. What are your important words? Saying them silently now to yourself. And feeling the energy, the vibration of those words. Let the feeling now rush over you. Good. Now moving along up into the space in between the eyes. Continuing to trust your intuition, which is very strong. If there's any wisdom that wants to be poured in through this space, allowing it now to move through that space in between the eyes. And letting it pour all the way down into the body, sending it wherever it needs to go. You're connecting to the space at the very top of your head now. Your connection to God, your highest self. Just let that move through you. Touching every single cell in the body. Breathing that in, letting go. Taking a few moments on your own here, you will not hear my voice for the next few moments. Very gently and very easily now, Kristen, just taking your time, wiggling the fingers and the toes, and allowing the eyes to flutter open. Just take a moment in silence here, just allowing your eyes to integrate, taking in your room, your environment. And whenever you're ready to speak, the floor is yours. I can run about 5 minutes over if you can.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I was just like, I feel like I could not talk for a really long time.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. I usually try to give a little bit extra time, but that meditation wanted to go longer. So, yeah, why don't you just be still and quiet, and just if words want to come, they will. We won't try to force them.
Still really don't have any I'm weirdly blank.
Okay. Do you feel okay? You feel good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I just feel very normally if I'm quiet, my mind is racing, but I'm just there's
Okay, good. I mean, that's it's all good, right? But yeah, so maybe there was a little bit of just a rebalancing of energies moving into different places. What was it like to support your heart? I know that was a part of it. Did you notice anything in that area?
I think that's one of my weaker areas. So I think it was nice to imagine that other parts of my body could support it.
Nice.
That was good.
Great.
And it was good to spend more time there. Normally I feel like I spend more time grounding or breathing. But like when I get into like ether kind of area, I just sort of skip past that.
Gotcha. Okay. So moving forward for you in your own meditation practice, can you see yourself integrating some of that, like what we did today, kind of modeling that kind of thing for yourself, where you do integrate that, you do spend time there? Was it helpful to put also the palms there? I don't know if you did that, but was that useful?
Yeah, it was. At different parts, I felt like I should have one or both hands. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was useful. I think I'm going to have to play with that and see what comes up. I knew I had some emotion around it. I just didn't really know what it was, or how to describe it. So, like, I feel like I'm just kind of getting words for it right now. So. Good.
Yes. Okay. So can you see yourself integrating this every single day? Now, going back to the theme of consistency, right? Can you see yourself doing that? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's what really came through for me, was consistency, and each part really getting a consistent appreciation, and whatever that means, but really tending to each part. And even the food part, about in and out and your sense of power in the world and how that's connected to what you're putting in the body. I don't know if did that part resonate at all for you?
Yeah. I had like a really cool imagery thing happening there.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Everywhere. Like I was in this like tornado of like circles.
Hey. Nice. Cool. Okay, Kristen. Well, great work today. And I love where you're headed. I love where you are. And it's just about a daily practice now. It's just watering this specific kind of plant that you have, which is great. And a beautiful, consistent plant that needs consistency. Yeah.
Like all
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. Any questions or thoughts before we close out for today?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and I appreciate you listening to this episode. I would love to get some great feedback from you. Feel free to leave me a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Also, any ideas or want to follow up on anything that happened in this episode, I would love to receive your emails. You can email me at kristen@ashtoncharles.co. Otherwise, I hope this episode has helped you be great in your business.